Okay, before we start the class, I think we need to, you guys need to click the link in the comment section and um, open the website cim.refine.site that I have given you. So it will show you the website that we are building for the tutorial. Okay. Okay. Good morning, everyone. So in in the CIM tutorial, because I think with the Midas programs that you have been familiar with, Midas Civil, Midas Gen, and etc. Usually we provided you with a PDF and also the PDF and Word document for the tutorial. But in the CIM, we recently tried to use some of the like interaction website interaction. So in this website, as you can see here, there are three website. Sorry, there are three tabs that we will be covering today. So it will be regarding the tutorial guide and also the modeling environment. So how to use the CIM to model the 2D and 3D model. And also the third one is to implement the model to the Google Earth using the KMZ file. So you just import the file from the Midas Civil and you edit it using the CIM. And after that, you export them to Google Earth as KMZ file. So first thing first, as you can see here, if you have opened all of the website, you can click on the learn here and you can click on the tutorial. Maybe you can right click and open link in new tab. Okay. You can see here that the CIN tutorial has many tutorials that we have been creating. And in here, so the first one is the T-shaped pier. This will be creating a single library, single point model, and in here this is a PSC box, so it will be creating a whole model and etc. So all of this can be accessed by you guys, but today we only will be starting the classes regarding the tutorial guide, modeling environment, and construction site simulation. So we first move into the tutorial guide. As you can see here, you can click on like this to do the next. So if you have been opening the tutorial, you will see the slide like this, and you can see that each tutorial will have a tutorial base and final file. So this is like the before and after of the file. So you can click in here to download it. So it will forward you to the Google Drive like this, so that you can download the file that you require. And after that, this is also the tutorial related instruction. So this tutorial related instruction is this tutorial, so you don't have to worry about this. Okay, so next, after the after the cover, you will see the contents and you will see the summary of the tutorial in here. And this is like the main step of the tutorial. So usually the tutorial will have many steps, but um, usually all of them will be divided by four big step tutorial. So as you can see in here, yeah, like so as you can see here, there are step 3, step 4, step 6, and step 9. So in here, it showed you that the step 3 is the first base, first subchapter, to step 4, the second subchapter, and etc. So moving on, um, each tutorial after the subchapter, you will see the subtitle in the top left side. You can see here, this is the title of to import the DWG. And in here, this is the model window. Usually this is a video, so you can play the video and see how to do it, how to do it like in real life, in reality. So you don't have to look only the static picture. And after that, in here, this is like just the subtitle of the sub function of the tutorial of each step. So you can see here, this is to import a section created in CAD. And on the top right corner here, this is the directory in which you can access the tutorial. So you can click on the user section mode, main, import, and dw slash txf to access the activity that is currently in the video. And in here, this is just the action procedure. So it's like it it will be breakdown by a sub step of the tutorial. And then this is just like pro tips that you may need for the particular tutorial, for the particular step. And this one is also the note that correlated to the help that we just told you. And in here, usually the video will be automatically depending on the speed that your internet currently is. So to tackle that, usually we use like this. So we just download an add-ons depending on your devices. If you use Edge, you can click on the Microsoft Edge Microsoft to create, sorry, to download an add-ons. In Chrome, you can also download add-ons in the Chrome store. Usually like a YouTube Auto HD, and you find the best ratings that in the that available in the Chrome store or the Edge store in here. And then after that, usually the quality will be similar to the one that you are referring to. Okay. And basically after the tutorial ended, usually it's like YouTube, so you can see the previous chapter and the next chapter, so that you can repeat the tutorial that you haven't been able to learn yet, like this, just previous chapter and next chapter. Okay, and this is just a FAQ. So after you do the tutorial, you may want to see the FAQs uh, to assist the problem that you may have. Okay, moving on to the first tutorial. As you can see here in the modeling environment, you can see the cover and you can only see the tutorial related instruction. So this tutorial related instruction will be going to the previous tutorial because this is the all of the tutorial will be covered by this tutorial guide. So the essence of the tutorial guide is applicable to all of the tutorial in here. And why this has not have any base and model like this, like tutorial base and final file, because this is just like introduction of the CIM module. Okay, in here we can see the subchapter, the chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and chapter 4. So this is just like the mode classification. So if you have point library, curve library, and assembly, I will explain to you further later. And this one is works tree. Works tree is similar like a tree menu in the Midas Civil. So the one in the left hand side or the right hand side to create the table, to create the the results, the and etc. in Midas Civil, in Midas Gen as well. And the third one is the snap view control. So this is just like a placing of your mouse. So if you want to create a line in the vertical side or the horizontal side or the diagonal side, you can click on this chapter. And the fourth one is the particular mouse gymnastic of the CIM. Okay, so the first one is the mode classification. The CIM have three mode. So the first one is the point library. So point library is basically just a single model that usually the point library will be merged together into a curve. So for example, the point library will be like a pier of a bridge, and maybe a girder of a bridge. And usually after you have created the point library, you can add all of the point library and you can assemble it to a curve library. So curve library is just like a different point library and you assemble it. And after that, the the curve library can be so the curve library can be assigned to a bigger curve library. So in this example, the curve library, the point library is the T-shaped pier, the T-shaped bridge, pier bridge, and the curve library will be a segment of a bridge. So a segment will be containing the T-shaped pier and also the girder, or maybe the abutment of the bridge, and the assembly unit will be the whole segment that you want to create in the bridge itself. Okay, in here we can see that the mode classification. Okay, okay. In here you can see that in CIM you can create a lot of part. Okay, let me show you in the CIM. Okay. Okay. Okay, in here, you can see that there are a base, model, feature, edit, and application. So first one, when you see in the base itself, it has a layout, sub layout, guide path, and etc. In here, you can see in the ribbon of library here, you can see the point, curve, and assembly. So the point, the one that I have talked you before, is you can create the point itself. So if you click create, you can click on you can create the name, for example, the point library one. Okay, and after that you can create the model itself by creating the concrete. You can create a beam or a column or a slab or a wall. You can create steel, and then after the steel you can create the rebar in the steel sorry, in the concrete itself, and you can also add pendant in the concrete itself, and you can also create the add the bolt and etc in the steel. Okay, and also you can also create you can also um, edit existing file. The importance of the edit of the existing file here is if you want to export MCT file from Midas. So for example, if you have, for example, existing model from Midas Civil, maybe you have an existing bridge, you can export the bridge from Midas Civil to .mct file, and you can import it to the CIM. And after you import it, I will explain you further in the Google Earth integration. After you import it, you can uh, edit the model from the MCT file through CIM here. So you can see there are trim, there are merge, there are chamfer of the edge, and also there are divide, there are intersection, and etc. There are scale also. Okay. Um, in after you have created your point library, you can click on here. You can click the check mark here. So if you click the check mark here, it means that if you see on the work tree here, you can click on the data. You have had a first library inventory here. As you can see here, the library has a point library and point library one. So it means that if you want to create a curve, for example, if you want to create a curve library, okay, the 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 library that you have created in the point library, so point library is the 2D library, you can import it to the curve library. So for example, if the curve library may be a segment one bridge, okay, with maybe unit length of 10, okay, 10 meter, you can create them. And this is already a path, a path of a curve library. So the difference between the point library and the curve library is that the curve library has a trajectory, has a path that you can assign some of the curve, some of the point library into the curve library. Okay, so the menu is still the same. You can add more concrete, you can add steel, rebar, and etc. in here. You can also create the so this is similar as the point library, but the difference is that you have a certain path that you can edit them, edit the assignment of the point library itself. So where to put the point library in the curve library. Okay, so this is usually uh, important if you have a, for example, if you have a tunnel that needs a lot of a lot of details that can be provided by point library. Maybe you have maybe you have a certain segment that needs to be divided throughout a layout. So you can create the curve library from there. You can create the maybe 100 meter of layout, and you want to maybe divide them by 20 meter times 5. You can create them in the curve library. So after that, you can also create an assembly in here. You can create assembly. So when you create assembly here, so this is similar as the curve library, but the the difference is just it's a compilation of many curve library in the assembly unit here. Okay. Okay, and also we have catalog and template. So catalog is just a, a library of CIM for point library and curve library. So you can see here, this is for example, the concrete slab. You can see here, you can add them to your project. Uh, you can add them to your project, or maybe the PSCI jitter. So this is as you can see, this is a pre-made curve library. So you can export them to your project, and then you can edit them depending on your project itself. You may notice that in this curve library, there are a lot of section in there. The reason why there's a lot of section is that if the if your section has a different of area, there will be a section. So with for example, in the left hand side there are one, two, three, four section. That it means that between between this area, between this length, there is four different uh, area changes of them. So in here there are a lot of variation between that you can choose depending on your need. And if you maybe have a typical project that you maybe for example in here maybe you need a FCM bridge, or maybe you need a cable stayed bridge that you just want to add the data, add the number, and then you can get the uh, the model instantly. You can click on the template here. The template provides many bridges. Uh, they provide the cable stayed bridge. They provide the PSC pre-stressed concrete I bridge. They also provide the FSM, FCM bridge, full span method, and free cantilever method, and also the cable stayed bridge, suspension bridge. And in here, the details of this will be covered in the next class. So you can add more of the number and details in the layout, cable model, and etc. Okay. And also, if you have created a custom section, for example, maybe you have created a custom section, uh, uh, custom section pre-stressed concrete in AutoCAD, for example, you can click on the user section, and you can click on create, or you can click import. This one import is importing the DWG that you have created in your AutoCAD, and then you can apply it to your point library, or you can apply it on the curve library. So um, for example, if you have if you have a curve library with a path with a length of the curve library of 10 meter, you can create the section the section in the in the first part of the curve library, and then you can extrude them similar to Midas Civil. You can extrude them to the end of the layout itself. So the user section also important in that particular. So you can see here because the DWG is usually used for this section, you can just instantly click on the DWG file to import the user section. And this is also coordinate. This is important if you want to import your terrain, for example, terrain from your KMZ file. So, for example, if you have created a drone mapping from a terrain, or maybe you have take you have get you have got a boring file, sorry, boring section of a terrain, boring section of a soil. You can add them in the model itself. But it is important to make sure that the coordinate is correct when you import them. Okay. As I said before, in the model you can create the concrete and etc. in here, and this is the ribbon for terrain. You can see on the in here. The details will be available. Sorry, the details will be covered in the next classes about the tunnel, about tunnel classes. And also this one is also for pier, and also for boundary, and also for construction stage. You can also create the construction stage from CIM, and then after that you can export it to Midas Civil, so that you don't have to worry about creating another construction stage in the Midas Civil. Because if you have created um, complicated model from CIM, and then you have to take it apart again in the Midas Civil, it will be a long time to finish the project. So the addition of the construction stage here is really really good to smoothen the workflow. Okay, and this one is also similar, the measurement to measure the point in which you want to check. And then this one is name view. This is also similar. If you have a particular angle that uh, you want to add to your printing layout, you can also click on the you can click on the name view. And the cutting view, this is also this is also similar. So for example, if you have a T-shape here, you can add a cutting view in some particular coordinate. Again, this will be explained in the next classes of T-shaped pier and PSCI bridge. I think it's fourth and fifth class after this, after holiday, I think. Yeah. Okay. And this one is also similar to the edit model. So this is to edit certain finished part. So this one you can also add the sketch. So for example, if you want to add a middle part of the section, you can also click here. You can also click on the points and etc. Okay. And in here, this is also important. in the file menu of application, because in here you can see the connection between the Midas Civil and the CIM ID. Sorry, the CAT ID in here. This is a Midas Drafter, but if you have installed the updated file, you will see Midas CAT ID in here. So, but the function will be similar. So you can see here, you can click on run, and then it will connect you to the Midas Drafter that will be connected to the CIM. So if you close the CIM, but you haven't closed the drafter will automatically close because the drafter is connected to the CIM when you click run here. This is also to organize the cutting view that we have created before. You can click cutting view based on plane, layout, by curve, and 3D view. So after you create this one, so for example, you want to create the 3D plane and 3D view, sorry, biplane and 3D view. The results will be shown in the Midas Drafter. Okay, so for example, if you click on the Midas Drafter, okay, you will have to wait a little bit. You will see 4 work streams in the left hand side and the right hand side. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, I think it's okay. So as you can see here in the left hand side, okay, this is the CIM view. So this one, if you have a lot of drawing view, for example, if you have a side view, top view, bottom view, you will see all of the view in here. You may have seen the word that we have included in the installation package. You can see that the view will be covered in the left hand side here, and the top left side here, and the bottom left side here will be regarding the rebar and regarding the tendon that you will have. For example, if you have a beam with a rebar and tendon, all of the rebar and tendon can be seen in here, and you can activate or deactivate the rebar depending on the layout that you want to print. So if you have maybe a beam with a rebar and tendon, you can copy the layout. For example, you can copy layout 1, layout 2, layout 3, but the first layout will be only the concrete, and the second layout will be only rebar, and the third layout can be only tendon. You can do that by activate and deactivate certain parts that you don't need. And the right hand side here is just the drawing that you currently have in the Midas Drafter. And the bottom right side here is the properties. This is useful if you want to decrease the annotation, decrease the size of the rebar information, the size of the tendon information of your print layout. So uh, you may want to uh, yeah, you may want to increase or decrease the size of your information rebar annotation here. Okay, and this one is for the construction stage, and this one if you want to connect connect the CIM to the Midas Civil in here, and this one is also for the analysis case. Okay. Uh, okay. So in this tutorial, you can see all of the menu that you need. So for example, when you try after this class, you can try many things in here, and if you click on here, for example, you click on the manuals, you can click on the CIM, you will see the navigation in here. So this navigation is similar to the CIM that we have shown you. This is basically like a online manual in the Midas Civil. So if you, for example, wants to know a little bit more regarding the how to create a new layout, you can click on the layout here, and you can click on the create, and a new tab will be shown, and you can see all of the how to and all of the help in here. You can see how to run it. There are directory in here, and this is the view that you can see in here, and this is the explanation of each option that you need. Okay, and this one is also how to do it, and it's very refreshing compared to just using Word and PPT. Okay, but for our next classes, so the classes that will be uh, will be involving a particular bridge. So the next classes will be about the PSC iBridge layout. So it will teach you about how to create the model bridge, how to create the point library, curve library, and assembly unit, and how to assign them to the layout that we will also be creating. But don't worry, the next classes we will have PPT and Word as well, so that you can learn from the website, and also you can learn from you can learn from the Word, and also you can learn from the PDF that we will give you tomorrow. Okay. So okay. In the comment section, I also give you the link for this website. Okay. Okay. Moving on. In here, this is also similar as the one that I have told you before regarding the library. So this one is the point library is the space that defines shape based on single point, and the curve library based on path. So it's just accumulation between the point library, and the assembly unit is the assembling both point library and curve library into one, and then after that occurs, the assembly unit can be assigned to the layout. Okay. So this one is also showing you how to create the user section. Okay. So you just click on the create, and it is similar as creating the point library. You can create the name, and you can choose the material type, section type, and etc. in here. And this one is also for drawing rebar and drawing tendon. As you can see here, you click on the draw, you click on the target, you click on the view that you want to create the rebar in, and you will get the rebar. And you can see here, you can okay, you can see the trend if you want to create a transverse rebars, longitudinal rebars, stirrups, and independent longitudinal rebars for column. Again, this will be dive further in the next classes. Okay, and in here also regarding the regarding if you want to create the analysis model for Midas Civil. Okay, let me show you before. Okay, usually okay, we can click on the application analysis case, and in here you can define the analysis mode. Again, this one is just a general type, so you don't have to worry about this. And this one is also regarding the construction mode, construction stage, that you can activate and deactivate some of the model that you have created. So, for example, if you create maybe 15 or 16 uh, point library and curve library and assembly unit, you can activate and deactivate them at a certain construction stage. So this is also useful. And this one is regarding the works tree. So this is to summon the works tree. So for example here, the if for example you want to you have the model, right, and you want to maybe add some different model. You want to create the additional concrete in maybe in the right hand side of them. You will get something like this, like a not like a works tree, as you can see here. So if you want to go back to the works tree, so the works tree is just like tree menu. So if you want to see all of the point library, curve library, and assembly unit that you currently have, you just click on AL Alt plus like a apostrophe in here, and after you click them, you will return to the works tree like this. Okay, and this one is regarding if you because CIM is 3D, it means that usually if you don't have some uh, if if you cannot choose the plane that you want to be in, for example, in here, if you want to create a sketch, for example, line, and you want to create on the horizontal line, you can click on T like this. So you can see the top plane in here. So wherever you move your mouse in, the mouse will be moving on the horizontal plane, like the one that is shown in the video. Okay, and if you click on on different different button, like the one in the S here, side plane, you can see on the vertical side. And if you want to see the X side, you can click on the front plane of the F here. So if you miss some of the instruction there, you can still see on the explanation here. So that's why this tutorial video is very engaging and very useful, because if you miss them, not only you can return to the particular instruction that you need, you can also see the explanation here. You can see that the T is the activating the axis of X and Y, the S is activating the X and Z, and the F is activating axis Y and Z. And if you click on D, it will be on diagonal, so uh, you have the freedom to move the sketch line in the 3D area. So XYZ It's okay. Okay. In here, this is also regarding the mouse button action. So this is similar if you create activate or inactivate of the Midas Civil. I will show you. So you can click on, you can drag, sorry, you can select some of them in the um, right side or the left side. So this is similar like AutoCAD. So if it's in the right side, you have to choose all of them. And if in the right side, everyone that touch the drag and drop will be selected. And this one is regarding the activate. You can click on them and right click and either show only, or you can click on them or hide. So this is similar like the activate. You can also hide all or show all if you don't click any of the point library or curve library for that matter. And this one is also if you want to view them in a certain angle, you can click on the bottom wheel scroll of your mouse in the middle, and you will get a wheel model, wheel model like this. So you can click on the top view or the back view, front view, and etc. Okay, so yeah, this is you can also explore them using that website that we have covered before. And before we go further to the simulation using a simple model and Google Earth, is there any question regarding the navigation of the CIM? Maybe. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Again, you can see all of the tutorial in the website, and yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. We move on to the simulation tutorial of implementing the file to the Google Earth. Okay. So the purpose of this tutorial is just to create the model from either civil, or you can create them from scratch in the CIM, or you can also create from scratch. Sorry, you can also create from CIM using a wizard template. And after that, after you have the model, you can edit some of the features. So maybe if there are some some section with different area, and it is not tapered, so uh, you can merge them, you can edit them with the tools that we have. And then the third one, in the sub base, you will you will enter the coordinate that you want to exchange in the Google Earth. So it means that you take the coordinate in the Google Earth, and you implement them in the coordinate system in the Midas CIM, and after that you can export them from MCT, because the file in here is .mct from Midas, and then you export them to KMZ, and then you can see them in the Google Earth. Okay. The first way to do it is just to import from Midas Civil. So usually just click on the Midas sim and then import, and then click on MCT in like this, and then you click on the base civil model of the .mct file. So usually this one is this one you can find it in the Midas Civil, as you know, in the export section. So after that, you can just click on the check here, and then it instantly showed you the MCT file that you have exported from Midas Civil. And then in here, for example, like this, if there is some imperfection in this model, as you can see, the gap in here is not close because maybe the layout is not yet fillet. So maybe the gap is, sorry, the layout is like this, and usually you want to fillet them so that the edge is chamfered. The edge is not uh, is does not have an angle, so that it's chamfered. You can use the file, the edit in here. You can see the edit file menu, and then you can click merge here. And usually after you click merge, you will see a select target here. This is you can click on the, so if there is a button here with the select name in there, and there are some background, the blue background, it means that you can click in any of the model window, and then the model window that you have selected will be automatically considered as the target that you have created. So as you can see here, the the select the select button is having is having the is having background in here, blue background. You can click on the member target, and immediately there are another button that said other object, and other object is the object that the section needs to be matched by the master object. As you can see here, the master object has section bigger than the other object, and then the other object will be uh, will be following the section of the master object, because the master object, as you can see there, the master object is tapered. So the first section in here, the area of the first section is bigger than the area of the last section. So it means that the whole master object is tapered. So it means that if the master object is tapered, the other object will be tapered as well. So you can see that the other object also have a tapered section. So the first part section is bigger than the last part section. This is also similar to the next one. You can see here, you click on the master object, and then immediately you can click on the other object. The the way to click on the on both other object is just you click control and click two of the objects, so that you can, so it's similar as if you click two files in your window explorer. You can click many files using control and select. uh, it immediately do that. And you can also see here there are divide, there are also chamfered. Chamfered is just removing the edge of a pointy object. You can click on the chamfer there, and then immediately the concrete will turn into transparent, and you can fill the radius in here, for example 3 meter, and then you click select edge, and immediately the edge of each model will be highlighted. So, so as you can see here, when you click on the edge here, it it automatically see a preview of um, the model that will be created in the future. So it means that you can change the radius if the future model is not as the one that you desired. So you can choose them before you click on the assign button or the finish button here. Okay, you see it automatically chamfered like this. Also similar to the other one. So this is also important. If you want to add more uh, more things with the similar setting, you can click on the blue one, the assign part, so that you can click them, and then after you click on the blue part, you can click on the other with the same setting. You can click on the blue part as well. So it's like assign and finish. Yeah, you can click on here, and then you click finish. So it will automatically close the menu. Okay, and this one is for coordinate settings. So this is just the usual part. So you just add the coordinate based on the based on the project that you need. For example, in here, usually usually because in here you can see the region of Asia and etc. Usually we just stick with the UTM. So this is just a universal coordinate, because if you have collected the coordinate the coordinate correctly, you don't need to add particular region and particular hemisphere in here. Again, this is based on the project. Okay, and as you can see there, you can change the degree of the latitude, longitude, and altitude. This is based on the Google Earth data that you have surveyed, for example. Okay, so after you create the coordinate settings, you can just click on the Google Earth application, and you can export them to KMZ. As you can see here, you can export them to KMZ file. Okay, and after that, after you're done exporting, you can click on the Google Earth application or Google Earth website, and then after that, uh, keep in mind that you tick the pedestrian bridge here, the KMZ file, and then it will automatically exchange the model file of KMZ to the real life Google Earth, like this. So you see this one is is a valley with a toll road in here, and this is the imposed bridge that we have created in the Midas Civil and then Midas CIM. So the important part is that to check the coordinate whether it is correct or not, depending on the real life uh, situation. Okay. Yeah. So maybe after classes you can explore the navigation of the CIM, and you can also uh, if there are some of the button that you don't really know how to use them properly, you can click on this website to uh, click on them and then see. But certain button, for example, here you can click on the application and you can click on the construction, and there is nothing in here. The the way to do it, just you can just click on here. You can just see in here, this is just like a sub chapter. Sorry, this is like the chapter of the menu, and you can click, for example, here, the construction. You can click on the construction, and then it will transport you to a website, and then you can click on here to expand the sidebar, and you can get all of the manual here. So maybe you want to see the construction animation function. You can click on the construction animation function in the arrow here, and it will show you the sub chapter in here. For example, if you want to click animate, and then this is just the summary of how to do it. And this is also, there are many interactive video that will make you easily get the function of certain button, and that which is hard if you use only PDF and only PPT. You can see that which button costs what, which timing costs what, and etc. In here you can also set effect and etc. And usually if the material is like branching to the other material, for example, if you have like maybe this one, maybe the construction stage. And usually if the construction stage has a reference of other tutorial, it will be listed in here in the reference material. So you can see the which one is the reference material, and you can either copy them and search them in the help help space here, or you can usually click on the link in here, and you can click them, and it will automatically show you to the other website. Again, this is very complete. You can see in the point library and etc. So yeah, it also in the installation package that we have given you, there are a lot of tutorial that you can try, and you can cross check whether the way that you do it is correct, depending on the tutorial that we have given you in the tutorial part here. Okay, so 2 days from now we will be creating the PSCI bridge here in here. but two classes there will be given by my colleague Angel, and it will be given using Chinese, I think. Yeah. Okay. And then after that, we will be. You may have been given the tutorial, right? So the scheduled tutorial will be like this. So as you can see, the this is the first class, and then the next two class will be given using Chinese by my colleague Angel. And after that, after holiday, we will be starting using rebar and tendon creation, and then after that, we will be creating the Wizard FSM Wizard FSM and also manual creation of FSM, and then we will create the FCM bridge, full cantilever method, free cantilever method, and then we will be creating the cable bridge and also the tunnel, and then will be retaining wall. And if there will be if there is enough time, we may be creating another bridge depending bridge tutorial depending on the needs of the company. Okay, so if there's any question maybe uh, regarding the tutorial, you may want to start first and then see if there is uh, yeah, if there's something that you needs to be asking, you may want to ask me using the email of support at midususer.com.tw. Okay. Okay. Is there any question? No. Okay. So if there's any question, you can always email and using the open chat in line. And yeah. Okay. If there's no question, we will see you the next 2 days to create the sorry to do the tutorial PSCI bridge with Angel. Okay, thank you.